Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's jump straight in, because today we're unpacking a world that's frankly mind-boggling. It's hyper-exclusive, and it operates on a completely different set of rules than the reality most of us live in. We are talking about the ultra-luxury watch market. Now, if you've ever found yourself wondering exactly why billionaires, royalty, and celebrities drop millions of dollars on a single piece of jewelry for their wrist, well, you're in the exact right place. We're going to break down the psychology, the artificial scarcity, and the wild economics of this industry, pulling some fascinating insights straight from one of the world's top watch dealers over in Dubai. Let's get into it.
There's this ultimate irony to this entire market, and it's this. Nobody buys these watches to know the time. I know, it sounds crazy, right? But at this absolute elite level, a watch communicates literally everything except the time of day. It's this immediate, silent signal of your financial success, who you're connected to, and just how much power you hold. Telling time? Totally irrelevant. When you strap one of these pieces on, you're projecting this aura that makes other highly successful people feel totally secure doing business with you. It's basically a multi-million-dollar handshake before you've even opened your mouth.
Section 1, Extreme Price Tags. $15 million. Let that sink in. That is the value of just one single tray of Richard Mille watches being prepped for a VIP client at a top dealership in Dubai. We are talking roughly 55 million dirhams just chillin' on a little velvet platter. And here's the kicker. Dealers actually have to sign non-disclosure agreements just to handle some of these pieces. They absolutely cannot post them publicly on social media or even let a camera get a clear, unblurred shot of them because the clients demand total and complete secrecy. I mean, you need a massive bank balance literally just to be allowed in the same room as this tray.
And these absurd costs, they extend down to the absolute tiniest details. It is completely detached from everyday reality. Like a replacement silicone strap, literally just the little rubber part, for a rare Richard Mille sapphire watch, that's going to run you over $6,000. Moving down the list, we've got the Bulgari Acto Finisaro. It's made of titanium, known as the slimmest watch in the world, and that clocks in at $500,000. And then there's the Patek Philippe 5990, totally iced out in baguette diamonds, sitting at a cool $1.2 million. But the craziest part about that Patek, it's what's called an off-catalog model. Meaning, you can't even open a Patek Philippe brochure and point to it. If you don't already know it exists, you literally cannot buy it. You're paying for a brand with so much power, they can just build whatever they want, knowing there's a billionaire waiting to buy it.
Section 2, More Than Telling Time.
The Batman, the Hulk, the Starbucks, the Pepsi. Now, you might think we're talking about a comic book convention or maybe a grocery store aisle, right? But no, this is the playful insider language of the most elite, high-stakes market on Earth. These are actually nicknames given to highly sought-after Rolex watches based purely on their color schemes. Got a blue and black bezel? That's a Batman. Green on green? You got the Hulk. It is a brilliant psychological trick. It takes these wildly intimidating, hyper-expensive items and turns them into collectibles. It completely gamifies the experience for billionaires who basically just want to catch them all. It builds the super exclusive sense of community and insider knowledge among the ultra-rich.
And then there's the pursuit of the absolute impossible. Brands justify these massive price tags by using literally out-of-this-world materials. Take the Rolex Skydweller, fully loaded with diamonds. At its peak, this was a $1 million watch, though it's currently sitting around $800,000. But the dial itself? It's made of meteorite. You're wearing an actual stone from space, crafted onto your wrist. Talk about the ultimate flex, right? It's not just rare here on Earth, it's rare in the universe. And that sends a very clear signal of an untouchable level of success.
Section 3. The Elite Exclusivity Game. So in this world, watches are strictly categorized into two separate buckets. You have your regular watches and your premium watches. Regular watches, those are the ones you can just walk into a beautiful boutique and buy, assuming you have the cash. But premium watches, that's a whole different ballgame. It genuinely does not matter how many billions you have in your bank account, you cannot just walk in and get your hands on them. They are impossible to find at retail and they're waitlisted worldwide. The brands meticulously, and I mean meticulously, control the supply just to ensure demand stays at an absolute fever pitch.
To really illustrate the frustrating reality of trying to buy one of these premium watches direct from the brand, just look at the intense process you have to go through. First up, the brand checks your purchase history. If you're a hardworking grad making a great salary, well, it doesn't matter. You are competing with the big boys who are dropping millions of dollars on a weekly basis just to stay in the brand's good graces.
And even if you pass that test, the wait is almost comical. Like the Rolex Daytona. If you walk into the Munich airport boutique and ask for one, they'll straight up tell you there is a 20-year wait list. Actually, it's so exclusive, they won't even let you add your name to the list so you can start waiting. Now, this impossible barrier to entry created a massively lucrative solution, the secondary market dealer. Look, billionaires hate waiting 20 years for anything, so they turn to heavily connected, high-end dealers. These dealers mostly operate out of ultra-safe, high-security hubs like Dubai, where you can casually browse millions of dollars in inventory without breaking a sweat. And they do the impossible. They've got the PR, the network, and decades of trusted relationships to source these ungettable watches. The catch? You completely bypass the wait list for sure, but you're going to pay a massive, massive premium over the retail price to get it today. But hey, for the ultra-rich, buying back their time is always worth the premium. Section 4. Wearable, multi-million-dollar investments. Now, a lot of people wonder, do these watches actually hold their value? Well, the historical appreciation of this alternative asset class is just incredible. Let's look at the Rolex Daytona again. 30 years ago, dealers actually remember these watches literally sitting in piles on the floor, selling for just a few $1,000s, because honestly, nobody really wanted them. And today, those exact same vintage watches are being traded for millions of dollars. It's an unbelievable trajectory, and it just proves these are legitimate, appreciating assets that the top 0.1% use to park and grow their wealth. But exactly like the stock market, this alternative asset class comes with massive high-stakes fluctuations. Take the specific example from our source material. There's this incredibly rare Patek Philippe worn by the billionaire heir Anant Ambani. Today, that particular watch is valued at around $4 million US. But get this, at the absolute peak of the market frenzy, that exact same piece was trading for upwards of $8 million. So yeah, while the long-term gains can be absolutely monumental, the short-term swings involve literal millions of dollars evaporating or appearing overnight. You really need serious capital and an iron stomach to play this game. Section 5. Smartwatches v. status symbols. When a top luxury dealer was recently asked about the rising popularity of smartwatches and fitness bands, he basically just laughed it off. He said, "Who cares how many footsteps you take or how many times you sleep at night? People at this level, they sleep good." And you know what? That perspective perfectly nails the mindset. It leans so heavily into the irony of our digital age. A smartwatch is highly functional, sure, but it's purely digital, and ultimately it's disposable. It says absolutely nothing about your status, your legacy, or your financial standing. To really put this into perspective, just think about this. You could take just the small metal buckle off the strap of one of these high-end Swiss watches, and with the cost of that tiny piece of metal alone, you could buy dozens and dozens of brand new Apple Watches. Tech is temporary, right? It's going to be outdated in 12 months and tossed in a drawer somewhere. But a true luxury watch, that is a permanent flex. It's a generational asset. And it is an undeniable statement that you have arrived at the absolute pinnacle of success. They simply cannot be replaced by a digital screen. Which brings us to the ultimate question, one that completely reframes how we think about luxury and wealth. If you suddenly had a spare $1 million handed to you today, would you use it to just buy the time? Or would you use it to buy status? Because as we've seen in this explainer, in the ultra-exclusive world of the 0.1%, those two things are entirely different currencies. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and keep questioning the true value of the things we wear.